Right, I'm going to read another 15 minutes now of my diary from New Binin, or Buinin, or Buinin, on the 9th of September 2006. This is what I wrote. Well, I'm up and packed. I've had a visit from the local coppers. Same two coppers who stopped me in Veendam on foot the other day. They suggested I find a proper campsite. I wonder if they realise it was me again. I should have played them a bit of guitar. I'm a bit down at the moment about playing my guitar. I was playing in Wizard last night, hitting all the notes, and no one offered me a cup of coffee, never mind a joint. I've finished all my backing out apart from a pinch that is in the tent bag for emergencies. I'll be pleased about that later. Today I'm going to sing-ish, making it up as I go along. I'm trying to work out a busking song. Emmen looks nearly as big as Assen, so I'm hoping to find a marketplace or something. It looks as big as Aston, and I'm hoping to find a marketplace or something. I now have no money, no fags, but I do have half a jar of coffee. I was just about to find the joint. It is dry and packed up again now. It's now just after 4:45. I went into Emmen and started busking just after midday. By 1 p.m. I had tobacco, €3.70. I've put €6.50 petrol and am full up again. I've recklessly spent €1.40 on a coffee and $1.40 on a Mars bar. Price of chocolate. I had a bit of competition to deal with and things slowed down a bit then. I swear the old git was following me about. My first pitch was best and I had about €10 in 2 hours. Slow after that. I moved. 16:35 on the 9th of the 9th, 06. I've decided I'm going back to the clock tower where I was before and busk for at least an hour and a half. I could do with a map of Europe. I'll cross into Germany this evening and busk in Meppen maybe. 5:45. I've arrived in Germany. First feelings of the place are not great. I parked in the first picnic area beside the road I came to, and as soon as I removed my helmet I could smell shit. Human shit. Well, the next thing I know I'm in desperate need of a shit myself. As I search for a bit of bog roll or any paper, anything, I'm really having trouble. I bolted for the undergrowth as much as you can run. When A, you're trying to drop your trousers, B, not to shit yourself, and C, preferably outside of the road. What a nightmare. Years of changing nappies for the girls enabled me to remove my boxer shorts without getting any shit down the inside of my leathers. I have had to dump my boxers, which I'm very short of. 90906. When I think about it, I have a pair of jeans and a pair of shorts and my levers. I will have a cigarette, then head into Meppen. The sky is falling lower in the sky now, and looks like being a nice evening. If I had to, I could return to the lay-by where I stopped on the way. I must find a map so I can see where I'm supposed to be heading. 11 a.m. back in Holland. I decided I was not going to stay in Germany after such a bad start. I had thought it was a bad omen. I seemed to be looking at the map every 2 minutes, and in the end I just turned west and kept heading for the sunset. I found myself going down progressively smaller roads, hoping to almost accidentally cross the border back into Holland. I found a quiet spot with a few trees by a sweet corn field. There was a shed nearby that I could have slept in, but the floor was full of rat holes, so I decided to put the tent up anyway. Home sweet home, I guess. I set the tent up in the dark at about 10 p.m. I think only 2 cars passed, and I don't think they would have seen me. I put a couple of branches over the bike and covered up the number plate with a rag. I watched the moon rise, and I guess it must have been close to midnight when I went to sleep. I did not even finish my ginger cake. I seem to remember someone telling me that ginger is a well-known laxative. I suppose I've eaten about 2 kilograms of the stuff over the last few days. I woke fairly early. I don't know what the time was, as my Nokia has a flat battery. I was up early enough to sample the delights of a dew bath. I did buy some shower gel from Lidl for about €2. I did not have long enough to stretch on the grass to feel the benefits, but I feel a bit better having tried. Now my towel needs a good wash. I packed up slowly and only 2 cars passed. I have looked at the map and think I might still just be in Germany. Then I put my map away. I've decided not to bother with the map until I reach Luxembourg. (10:37), 11th of the 9th, Oldenzaal, Holland. I headed west with the sun on my back and kept going straight on where I could. I did turn round once when the road I wanted to go on was just a field. I turned round and headed north for a bit, and then turned west again and found myself riding down a sort of forest track. The TDM coped well with the ground, as the ground was firm, if a bit bumpy and stony. I could have gone a bit faster and done my Paris-Dakar impersonation, which was hard to resist, as I could see what was coming, as the roads were so straight. With the bike being fully loaded, I slowed down and enjoyed the scenery. I was so safety conscious, I even put my gloves on. I passed 3 people on horses who seemed to wonder what they were seeing. After 5 or 10 kilometres, I was back on tarmac. I did stop to take a photo, but could not because my battery was flat. I was glad I had not turned back, and it made me want a Bonneville Scrambler even more. I must buy a compass. The sun was confusing me by sending shadows in all different directions. I nearly took the map out, but managed without it. I finally crossed a border on a main road and headed to the nearest village. I just felt like playing for myself, so settled down by the bike and played for about an hour. I was just about to find somewhere to play when some people fresh out of church gathered round to stare at the grisly spectacle that was me sitting on the floor playing guitar. We chatted for a while and I offered to play them a song, which I did. They stood there for a while smiling, then just walked off without making a donation. I was gasping for a cup of coffee and only had 65 cents. Tight gits. They said I would be better off in a town 7 kilometres down the road in Oldenzaan. So off I set off. The main square looked like the perfect place to busk. It was about as big as a football field, with cafes and restaurants all around the perimeter. In the middle was a large rock sculpture. I parked the bike right next to it, sat on my rucksack and started playing. The sound was not all that good, but there were a couple of cafes and people outside near enough for people to hear me. I was quite enjoying the playing, but the change was not flowing in. One person put in 50 cents in the first 2 hours. I decided to sit on the other side of the rock in the shade in the hope of a change of fortune. A fortune in change, perhaps. I was more comfortable on the warm side, and I think my music could be heard a bit better, but another hour only netted another 25 cents. A friendly man came up and started talking to me. First of all, he bought me a beer, which was superb, and I soon forgot about my having a craving for coffee. I played on. Half an hour later, Shawnee was back with another beer. He was astounded by the lack of change in my hat and gave me 20 euros. I was rich again. He said there would be a lot more people around later, so why didn't we just go for a drink and go and drink some beer? After thinking about things the night before, I cannot remember exactly where now, I figured it was a good idea. Shawnee reminded me of Dave the Rave, and in the cafe where we drank, everybody seemed to know him. He had about 5 beers at the cafe on the square, by which time he offered me a room for the night and a chance to freshen up a bit. I would have gone to the YMCA or a male prison for a shower and took my chances. The thought of a warm shower was too good to turn down. We were about to leave the square, and as I started my bike, I noticed a police car watching me. They drove off out the square and round the corner. I decided I was probably too pissed to ride the bike and left it where it was. Just around the corner, the police car was waiting for us. The result of the conversation was that yes, I was too pissed to ride the bike, as if I didn't know already. The bike could be left there for a couple of hours while I went off and drank a lot of coffee. Then I could move off the square as there was a market in the morning. We walked off to Shawnee's local, and I did drink a couple of coffees before going back on the beer again. At the first cafe I had met Shawnee's friend Ursula and her mother, and they said there were no coffee shops in Oldenzaan, but she was the coffee shop in Oldenzaan. I took a number and said I would ring her in the morning. And that'll do for 15 minutes again. Page 50 that is, we're up to now. So, minimize that. back. 15 minutes and 5 seconds. That's end of part 6, I think. So the next one will be straight into it.